So good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne. We are here in the heart of Gritty Week, the Gritty Climate Week here on the Donny Chaingang. Now, it is a really important week for us, partly because it is actually a year's anniversary for Grity, who have been in existence that long, providing sustainable apparel, which is great stuff, and Neil and Caroline, who head up Grity. Well, they are regulars on the Chaingang, so happy anniversary to them. Just as importantly, of course, it is Climate Week now. The COP26 summit is on over and across in Glasgow. We, of course, at Full Speed Defence and on Donny Chaingang, well, we're always looking for ways to look after the planet. We all appreciate going out on the bike, and it makes a big difference if that planet's still going to be there. Now, we know do lots of little bits and pieces. If you remember the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Sports Club, of course, we're giving you loads of examples of just exactly what you can do to help everything from recycling inner tubes with the Schwalbe tyres recycled inner tube scheme. Use somebody like the spokesman who recycles tyres into wallets. You can cut down on the amount you use. It's really, really simple. Do you actually need to go buy another group set just to get one more sprocket on the back or one more jump in there? Is it something that you need to use? Can we keep on reusing things for other things? For example, we actually have in this studio a light switch made out of a Campag Record cracked crank, and that has served us well since we've repurposed it. And don't forget, of course, it could be something as simple as using your water bottles as plant pots. Our chilies here tend to do their first few months of life in a recycled water bottle with a top cut off it. So lots of ways you can just to help the planet. Of course, you can buy from somebody like Grity who have sustainable clothing as well. Now, to mix it up and to appreciate what we're up to and where we're heading today, we are going to be heading out today onto the Serpentine 8 in the Mayan Forest. Before we do that, though, to give some highlight to the week, we are indeed going to go with our traditional giveaway, and this is for one of the brand new designs. Now, Gritty have got two new designs just landed, part of their looking after the planet range. So we've got one of the global warming jerseys and one of the jerseys of the Protect the Planet, which are two new designs come out from Grity. You can see them on the Grity website. It's gritty.co.uk. Now, if you're a member of the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, so the people who basically keep the show on the road and support us by joining that gang, well, you're in for the draw. And of our members, well, the members are actually in with a 1 in 94 chance of winning one of those jerseys now, and it will be slightly better odds next time around, unless somebody else joins, of course, in the meantime, because it is one rider, one prize through the week. So let's dive across into that giveaway screen. As you can see, the random number generator is back once again, my old friend, the random number generator. It is going to be choosing a number at random. Basically, all of our members are in alphabetically from A's for ADs right down to the X's for Xander. And he's not just in, I promise you, just because he gets us to X, although if you did have a name with Z, I might consider just letting you in just because that is an awesome name. So the riders in from A to X at the moment, and that then is 1 to 94. So we are going to hit the button on the random number generator. It's going to stop somewhere between 1 and 94, or 1 and 94 as well, and one of our members will be getting themselves one of the fantastic Grity jerseys. So we're going to hit the numbers. I have no idea what number it's going to stop at. It's stopping on number 83. That is for Simon, a.k.a. Sean Runnit. So Simon, a.k.a. Sean Runnit. Simon, you have just won yourself a brand spanking new, and we are just going to highlight that on our screens here. A brand new spanking bit of kit, and that is the jersey from the team at Grity. Well done, mate. So looks like Simon going to be getting one of those jerseys. Very nice they are too, I must admit. And I think he's going to enjoy that. So let's jump across from our giveaway. I think our riders are just starting to line up on the start line. Got about 3 minutes to go, which means we're going to do it slightly backwards today, because we're going to jump in and we're going to see if we can get hold of the one and only Bear today, because getting hold of Russ is always an interesting moment. on the Chaingang, particularly when we haven't done any of our test calls. So if we can get in touch with Russ, we will. I'm hoping he's on the other end of the line and that all the tech is working after what was a great week away for the Bear. So let's see if we can get hold of the one and only Russ Downing. Russ, are you there?
Yeah, kind of.
That's always a start. They're in spirit, if not in real life. So we'll see. First of all, did you have a good week away?
Yeah, very good, mate. I didn't want to come home. Too much walking, too many nice pub meals, and a few different types of ale. So that was good.
I'm sure you enjoyed it very much. I mean, we were stuck here, of course. We had Jimmy Allen standing in the Wolf and doing a good job, and the Beakers all getting nicknames one way or another, slowly but surely. So always good. But are you raring to go? I know you've been doing some busy weeks, which means that tonight could be a bit interesting for you.
I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty nailed, I went on holiday for a week, did whatever, and then I've just done 3 days back-to-back with 5 rides, so...
Ouch!
I don't know
5?
I don't know what's going on. It ain't a comeback, it's just, my good buddy Swifty's home, he's like, come on, I need you to come training with me. I'm like, okay, mate.
Well, it, really. Who are you to turn down Mr. Swift, the man who took his second... title in a row, so fantastic stuff by him, but going to be very interesting to see how he gets on. Now, we've got a draw, of course. We've just drawn the Grity jersey, very nice jersey, and that's going to Simon Runnett, one of our regulars on the Chaingang, and a member all the way through the year, and so congratulations to him. And we've got another draw, of course, on Thursday as well, and loads more to come, so it's going to be a busy run up to the end of the year.
Yeah, Grity have been in all year, so they're giving some great prize. That's some great kit, and very appropriate that we're on a bit of gritty under the tyres and that. So
well, yes, tonight could be
fun.
It could be every meaning of the word gritty tonight because it is a tough route. And we went here for the first time actually on our very first Grity week. So it's going to be interesting to see how people compares across. So let's see how he is. How we get on it. It's going to be tough stuff. With 27 seconds to go, I better let you go breathe the troops, mate. It's super busy.
Yeah, just nearly. I put gravel bike on, then I went mountain bike, and then back gravel. So I'm sticking with mountain bike. I just fancied riding a normal bike, and but I think I need all the help I can get with 7 seconds to go as I'm not really pedalling.
Yeah, you better get a move on, mate. You're about to get left in the blocks if we're not careful. I'll warn you now. We are actually focused on you, so. As you can see, just heading it out on to the ride here. So looks like Russ out on to the gang. Russ, we'll let you get pedalling, mate.
Yeah, I forgot what this Zwift thing's all about. Probably over a week since I did it, and looks fun.
You'll enjoy it, mate. You'll enjoy it, honest scuff. Cheers, Russ. Catch you later on.
Cheers, mate.
So our riders just off on the lead in to the ride. Let's show you where they're going to be heading first of all. So let's dive across to the map. So we've just set off from the Pens here in Watopia. We come down all the way through the Mayan world, dropping right the way down to the low point at the end of the lake. We go underneath the rock arch, and then we work our way back up and round. Now this is basically a figure of 8 course. So you go up one side, all the way to the top, you come back down halfway, you cut back across the bridge, and then you drop back down and in again. Now, it's actually really, really easy to work out where you're going on this, but that is if you remember the key thing to remember on this route as you head down and through, that there is a rock arch, and we go underneath a stone arch by the side of the lake, just by the tunnels 4 times, and we finished on the 4th time through, and that's the easiest way to remember where we head down. Currently our riders on that long run in, on that long red run down into the figure of 8. We've got Greg Pilsworth. He is our red beacon. Russies, of course, are yellow beacon here on the Gritty Climate Week. And remember, today 337 metres of elevation. So if we swap from our fantastic Zwift map across to our fellow viewer profile, you'll see that we have currently got up on screen the Serpentine 8. This is our Zwift Insider verified segment, and you can see that although it's not particularly steep anywhere, there's no 15, there's no reds, there's no dark maroons going up into the 25%. What there is a lot of green and yellow. So essentially green is around that 0% mark, going up to yellow is about 5 to 6%. And you can see it is going to take its toll on our riders, not just, of course, the terrain and the climb, but also if we drop across to our riders, you can see the dust out there. So if we pop up Russ's stats, which is always easier said than done with our riders out on course, we will try and get hold of Russ's stats. Don't you just love it when the software plays games with you? Always entertaining. Let's try and get you some stats for Russ. There we go, as if by magic. Russ's watts, heart rate and revs, distance covered, map top right hand corner, and as you can see, we're just about to drop on to the circuit proper. If we zoom out, this is the split. As we come down onto the circuit correctly, we're going to take the right hand turn. Remember, a big old spread. I suspect that we're not going to see everybody. Just taking a little look at the numbers. Yep, we're definitely not going to see everybody out on the route today. So remember, if you're at the front, you won't see the very back. You won't know how far behind it is. If you're at the back, you're not going to see the front. Going to make things very tricky indeed. So our riders on the run down and heading in towards the start. This is where we see who was paying attention at the very start of the ride and who is a member of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang supporters club, because you've got to remember and you get a heads up on what bike to ride, where we're heading, where the finish is, where the start is, what you need to bring with you. Always a bonus. So let's dive into the ride here on the Donny Cycling YouTube channel. So here on the Donny Cycling YouTube channel at the moment, we have a big old spread of riders. Now, if you're watching this live and you're wondering why am I on a road bike, not on a mountain bike, now is the time to change. Change early, because every moment that you are out and riding on a road bike, you are expending much more energy than our riders who are riding on a mountain bike. It requires far less effort to ride the mountain bike than the road bike. You can get a good example here. So Goddard at the moment pushing 3 watts per kilo. Pillsworth overtaking and almost overtaking him at sub 2 watts per kilo. That is the difference it makes between being on a mountain bike and a road bike. It is really easy. And this, remember, Goddard, of course, on a Tron bike. So this is very tough for riders who are having the wrong bike underneath their wheels. Let's take a little bit of a look as everybody just jumps in to the game. We do have quite a long train of riders, so there's going to need to be a bit of a regroup. Just taking a little bit of a run up here. So just taking a look, Mr. Pillsworth in here, Goddard in here. Mr. Goddard, apparently he's on a mountain bike. That's interesting to see. Campbell not so interested. He's not necessarily changed on everybody's screen. Tiff Fletcher currently power sliding away around that corner. Let's have a little look. What it was Matt Manicky watching his members' emails. Not sure that he was. So just taking a little bit of a check through. And you can see behind our yellow beacon, we have a real long string of riders. If we take a look back on the screens, the wonders of having the screen. So here we go. So just taking a little look behind Russ, behind the gang, and just seeing where everybody is. Now remember, lots of people just having to jump on to the bike. Mr. Little just jumping in. Let's take a little bit of a look. So you can see people spread out all the way across. Our riders at the front just making their way out and through the tunnels here, and as you can see, have already spread out. So Neil from the Crosscast, and of course a part of that Grity team on this run across the bridges here. If we take a run through Woodward, Kieran Smith, Goddard, Taylor, Gibbons, Potts, Jobbins, Rodney further back. Pills, we're still seeing the red. Looks like Trevor Crean. This showing Crean on the rowboat. See whether that is still the case. Always going to be tough stuff if you are on the right bike. And Mr. Pills was doing a great job here, just freewheeling his way down. Looks like Trevor just blasting past there. So certainly seen some distances. So whoever Campbell is, let's have a little bit of a look at Campbell. I was just stopping and changing the bike, or is it a gravel already? I think there's going to be a gravel already. So going to make a difference. Should be able to push on big watts here. So working well. So you can just see the gang all spread out. Let's take a look on the map. Yep, it is a little bit like snakes in the front. So let's take a little bit of a look up this climb. You can just see the yellow beacon just up at the top of that. So time to fob that blob. That is key. So let's take a little look. Remember, the game of the game is to all pile on yellow. So if you don't know where the yellow beacon is, really easy. Take a little bit of a look on your screens. You'll see the yellow beacon showed up on the map on the top right hand side. You'll see it on the bottom of the game. Looks like Ruby's just dropped out and rejoined. Just an easy way to get back into the group if you're going to go change your bike. Now, Kieran in with the group. Dave Wing is in. Looks like Gibbons just distanced a little bit. So Gibbons, Pillsworth just taking a little bit of a look. So it looks like Potts just changing by. Go for a rejoin might be the option. Safe for Campbell. Campbell's doesn't need to rejoin. He's already on Pillsworth here, pushing some serious watts. So looks like Greg Pillsworth's going to have his work cut out. Going to have to go jump on to the back. Remember, on this route, Swift is like real life. If you take a road bike, like taking a knife to a gunfight, when you go off-road in the Mayan jungle, because it is tough stuff out there. So this group are working their way well up the climb. We can just take a little bit of a look across at Keith Richardson, one of our regulars here. You can see plenty of people just jumping back in with the correct bike, and as you can see, still a fairly long train queue. This, remember, get yourselves into that yard. Now the draft still works even at this speed on Zwift, but it is bigger differential as you go up and down. So just taking a look and seeing now the gang in there. So call from Russ to head back to yellow. Let's see how everybody gets on with that one. It's a relatively simple thing to do. Stop pedaling. If you're at the front, let the group come back together again. Take it easy. Save your effort for later. So the guys at the back pushing on hard to get into the group. The rider they need to be around, well, it is our yellow beacon. That is Russ Downing, just trying to jump in with Russ at the moment. So our red beacon working his way back up to yellow, doing an amazing job here with Campbell, pulling his way back to the front group here on the Donny Chaingang live on the Downey Cycling YouTube channel. And looks like Campbell and Pillsworth just about making their way up towards that group. Gibbons is in here. You can see the gang behind still spread out. You can see Andy Farrell just currently bike snubbing it on his gravel bike. So just making his way up through the course. So it is really fun watching him get in. Looks like Sonia Inslee with dropouts from the internet. He's going to be making her way back in. If I know Sonia, she knows how to get in and out. One of these days, Sonia, I'm going to come around and visit you and Darren, because between you, you have more dropouts than the rest of the bunch all put together. Right, let's have a little bit of a... I'm kind of loving the fact people think they've got a Zwift e-bike. If only that was the case. Right, so the bunch here trying to close down on Russ. The gang all together on this section of climb. We're heading up towards the upper part of the climb here. Looking good at the moment as they make their way up the climb. Looks like Neil Well in here. Mr. Briggs is in here. Maddie's in here. And Caroline Mansfield, of course, the boss of Grity. Let's see. Never know. With the wonders of technology, we'll try and get hold of Caroline. Let's see if we can see how they're going. So looks like Neil having gremlins on the way through. We'll soon find out if Caroline is having the same issues as Neil is having. We'll soon find out. So hopefully on the other end of the line we are going to be able to get hold of Caroline. Looks like just having wonderful problems. It's always distracting when somebody tries to ring you. Always very, very tough. So Caroline continues to pedal away up here. Let's see if we can get hold of Caroline. Caroline, are you there on the end of the line somewhere deep?
Hi Matt, can you hear me?
We can indeed hear you.
I'm so sorry, I pressed the wrong button.
It's all right. Lots of people cut me off midway through talking. It's a regular occurrence. It's peril of the job, to be honest. So we are out. It is climate change week, of course. And we decided we'd go for a real tough route here, but it is definitely virgin jungle here, and I think really we've got to say a big thank you to everybody getting over. I think pretty much everybody's managed to make the switch over to mountain bikes, so maybe try something different, make people think a bit.
Well, I have to say, I do like a little bit of mountain biking, and I'm really enjoying seeing all of these bikes out here. Quite impressed that so many people remembered to change, to be honest. Oops, wrong gear.
We are watching your progress. Suddenly we don't have a heart rate monitor on to be able to check as you...
That's for the best.
because it always shoots up and through the route. Now, it is a big community at the Donny Chaingang, we've got to say. I mean, I've just seen you just go past Geoff Watson, the man responsible for the ruler tickets that were up for grabs earlier. And of course, we've just given away a jersey from yourselves as a giveaway for the Climate Week. And that, of course, was the red warm stripes jersey. Now, tell us the story behind the stripes.
Right then, for the stripes, when we first started thinking about how can we really show that as a business we're as sustainable as possible, the global warming stripes kind of fell into our lap, and we thought, right, these will be really useful. And then batting around ideas, first of all we used all of them, the whole spread, and then we thought actually just a plain bluish jersey looks lovely, and so also does a reddish jersey. So we just took the final part. So if you look at your YouTube screen, you can see the red colours on the right, and we thought actually they look really lovely as a jersey. Oh, I'm a bit way off the front here. Not concentrating. So we just zoomed them in. And actually, if you think about the situation with global warming, with temperatures changing and rising, and potentially rising further, those warm colours are really absolutely critical. So it's a jersey you can kind of wear with pride to show your sustainable credentials and to remind yourself, we really have to do something about this.
Indeed,
and it looks really good.
And it looks really good as well. The jersey designs have gone out. In fact, pictures of the jersey have gone to the members of the DCG gang. And that mutual support that is shown in the gang and looking after each other is critical worldwide, because if we don't, we will end up really up a certain creek without a paddle, it has to be said. And you can just see at the moment, Greg Pillsworth at the moment just at the back here, just doing his the traditional sweeper's job, and that volunteering, that looking after each other is a key part of the chain gang, and I guess that's why it's such a nice fit having Grity on the chain gang.
And I think that kind of goes with our things as well. We're all in this together, and you know, that's what we love about the DCG. We are literally all in this together, and someone will come and help you. And I know that that's happened to me in the past, and I've always been really grateful when people have kind of noticed, and just helps you to feel like you belong a bit more. It's just lovely.
Definitely. Well,
so watch out for me sliding off the back a bit later.
and or when you run out of oxygen, because you're talking to us as well. And we've got to say well done to Simon Runnett, the first of our winners. Remember, because there's a second jersey coming up on Thursday. We're going to try and get Caroline suffer a little bit more on Thursday as well. And never know, we might have managed to twist her arm into putting a heart rate monitor on, so we can all watch as she starts to suffer on the front, as she starts
Put me on
talking.
another hill and let me huff and puff.
That'll be the way. You're nearly the downhill bit, so it does get a bit easier, I promise. Although I am notorious for saying that just before the biggie's still coming, so I have to be careful. Caroline, thank you very much for supporting the chain gang and of course supporting the members. Thank you for joining us. We're going to let you get back to it and enjoy the route.
Thanks, Matt. Good to talk to you. Bye.
See you, bye. So great to catch up with Caroline out on the course at the moment, out and riding on the Chaingang. Remember, of course, Grity, one of the supporters of the members of the DCG gang, of the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, and it does make a huge difference. I mean, we can't stress that enough, what your support means to us, to Russ and myself, just in terms of keeping the Donny Chaingang rolling. So a massive thank you, and it's great to be able to reward people with big giveaways from our supporters like Grity. Now the gang rolling well up towards the top of the hill. Let's answer a few questions on the way through. So the finish is at the arch at the very bottom, as we head down to the very bottom of the course. That arch, rock arch, we go through 4 times. We've been through once already. We've still got 3 to go. Now, if we take a little bit of a look, Ruby just pushing at the back here. Looks like Woodward pushing on Jamie Brown. Oh, Jamie's just swapped to a mountain bike. In fact, I just noticed Jamie going across. Mr. Pillsworth, he is our beacon. Now, if we drop back, of course, we see the 100 riders in front of or around Greg, and looks like one of our real stalwarts of the chain gang. Great rider, and good to see him back in action again. So it is Mr. Tickle. Tickles is in here, pedaling away nice and smoothly there. Nice revs with Greg, and Greg, of course, one of our regulars. And you can just see Ruby and Mr. Little are going over the wooden bridge. This wood bridge has the steepest gradient, in fact, on the whole of the route, with an 8% kick up and out from it. And that really does make life hard as you kick up and over. Meanwhile, looks like Tiff Fletcher a little bit further ahead. Neil from the crosscast for Grity just in the group as well. Taylor's in here, Taylor Leach, Mr. Gale. Got Morgan Lloyd. Morgan, one of our very last minute entries into the chain gang. Let's take a little bit of a run through. Sonia back into the group. Henry Fuller's in there. So Rodney in the group. Tim Howcroft, Paul Simonak. Paul was going well the other night. Darren Toplish of Pine Cycles in the group. Dixon Moore's in it. Sam Emsley's back in. Mr. Thorpe, Mr. Mason, Mr. Kipling is back in. It looks sort of like Andy Farrell nicely tucked into the group. Let's have a look. Looks sort of like Taylor in here. A real mix of riders. Now we are steadily scrolling our way through and around pretty much everybody in the hope of catching a few of the regulars on the chain gang, a few of the members of the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. Gail, of course, one of the members of that Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, just in the black there, just making her way down in basically glued to the there in the yellow beacon. And Gail, of course, our Supremo when it comes to all things spreadsheets, and good to have Gail on the ride tonight. Just taking a bit of a run through. Mr. Varty in here. So Tim Howcroft in. So Mr. Chamberlain having to spend his drops points, the points that you earn when you're riding on Zwift, basically are drops points. The more height you ascend, the more distance you cover, the faster you gain points. If you complete a route, a new route you've not been on before, you'll also get drops points from that. You also get extra drops points if you follow one of the pacing partners on Zwift. So it does make a big difference to the riders as they go around those points. You earn those points, you then spend them to get a better bike. Now you can just see the pack just a little bit spread out here as we just take a look, and Russ, our leader, the bear, is back. And you can just see as the riders head down into that Mayan city across the gorge. Most of the group together, just working well. One or two people just really having to push on hard behind. So if we get our drone cam up in the air a bit here, you can just see the riders going out and around the corner. Still plenty of people in ones and twos behind the chain gang. Tough when you have a proper off-road course like we've got tonight. Now you can ignore those time splits that's showing up at the moment. That's because of the zigzag. Basically, when you've got a bend in front of you, you're about to go round. What that does is that translates as the time gaps being slightly incorrect on the side of the course. So ignore the time gaps for the moment. They are definitely not going to be correct. As you see Mr. Pillsworth along with Tickers coming down and in this fantastic world of Zwift, created to give us a really good riding experience, and that's what it does because it is custom made. Now if we jump across to go see where Russ is at the moment, looks to me like Russ just off the back of that main pack. We're just going to take a little bit of a view. Looks like the bear is on his own at the moment, and you can just see the gang working the way up through the middle of the temple here, but Russ just at the back of this group. Behind though there are groups of 2s and 3s behind, so if we drop back you can just see Owens and Saysel are together here. So just riding in, we're just in with Jeff at the moment, who's on the front. So Jeff on the front and Dave Owens behind the Welsh duo, actually, I think, here together, both Welsh riders, and get to see both of them just about making their way back onto the back of the group. So really just coming up with Richardson on the heels there. Richardson with that fairly traditional for him, a bit of kit on the side. Looks like Andy Farrell just going legs. I think Andy's legs just fell off well and truly at the moment. Come on, as quite a DS we all know well. Move up time, move up. So Mr. Verrill just getting the signal to push on. But of course, don't forget, if you're not with the leaders, jump in with the group. It is all about riding with gang. It is much easier as a duo or as a pair. So just seeing Ruby there, just diving off, and don't forget, of course, we've got the beacon coming through. We've got Flynn in, we've got Owens pushing in with the back of that group. It looks like Woodward has made that group as well. Yeah, just take a run up through the course. So this is coming up on to the top to take the left-hand turn down. So this course basically goes up one side of the gorge, over the wooden bridge, then drops down, cut across the midway point and back in once again. So just in with the Woodall, Tiff in here, the gang pretty much together now onto this descent. Remember, of course, as our riders come up over the top of the climb, that's when the gaps open up. So if you go up a rise, then you start to drop down, just like in real life. If you're distanced by a meter coming in towards the summit, you'll be 5 meters off the group. At the moment it starts heading downhill as you go over that crest, and that is tough stuff. Now let's see, we're going to have a little bit of a jump in. Let's see if we can get hold of the one and only Russ Dowling. He is allegedly still breathing on the other end of the line. Heart rate's already over 100 though, so definitely having to work hard on after 5 days of riding. Let's try and jump in with the one and only Russ Dowling. Russ, are you there? Are you alive, Russell?
I am, mate.
He's here. He's alive. He's probably as warm as the stripes that are on the YouTube screen at the moment where he's sitting. It's tough stuff out there. I was looking for a picture of you on a mountain bike, mate, for tonight, and I couldn't find one.
Nah, you probably have to go back to 2017. I used to have a specialised, I don't know what it was, but it's stunt jumper or something that we played around on. But yeah, I'm going to get one. I just keep put it off.
I might have to do some serious internet stalking to find that one then. So tonight we are on a tough course, but the gang, it keeps on reforming together. Well, it stretches and it comes back together, and that's exactly what we keep on seeing. It always makes me laugh when people say, Russ is off the back. Russ isn't actually off the back. It's just that not everybody can see the people who are off the back, who are in that group around you, because we've got well over 100 riders.
Yeah, I'm always just trying to stay in and around the middle, and then certain times I do get dropped, but not actually out the back of the bunch. So I will be panicking if they ever don't have riders around me. But let's just keep a cap on it for another few minutes, let's say.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, this is only, our second passage, so we've got to go through here 4 times in total, so this is number 2 on the way through. Just watching Maddie make her way in towards the line here. Maddie, of course, one of the regulars, and we're just coming up, in fact, towards the arch, so we're going to come back the opposite direction, and then the next time we're coming in this direction, this is when we're going to actually see where our riders have to go, because this is the run into the finish, going in this direction. So there are effectively 2 more passages of the arch, once in the opposite direction and once in this one to come into the finish, and it sneaks up on you with it being round that bend, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think I remember this being quite hard last time. We were a few digs in the final, and it's like, I didn't know where the finish is. It's a really tough circuit, this, and I was dreading it early when I came back on off the gang this morning with Swifty and Ben Turner and that, and I was like, that really hurt to keep up with those boys. And I was like, ouch, we've got a hard route tonight. So yeah, thanks for looking after me, guys.
Yeah, I think I'm not surprised you need a little bit of help from the gang. I got to say though, everybody seems to be pretty much pulling together. We just got Mr. Pillsworth at the back with Tigger's doing a great job here, just trying to close in on Ruby and Jim Flynn. So it looks like 2 pairs just off the back here. Jim, Ruby, Greg and Mark working together as duos really well, and that's what the Chaingang's all about, isn't it? If you're not in with that leading group, and if you do get distance, don't worry about it, it happens to everybody, but just find somebody to ride with, because that's what it is all about.
Yeah, definitely, it's find your group and get home really, and I think as soon as I say those 3 words tonight, I'm going to find a group, and so if anyone fancies looking after me to get to the finish, come and find me after those words, and we'll have a chat to the finish.
That sounds like a good plan after a hard week back on the bike. And of course you've been busy this week as well, because we've had the launch of the brand new venture by yourself, and it is going to be a haven that you're going to create all around the country, hopefully, for people like me for whom it's needless to say I've got a coffee on the go here already.
Yeah, hopefully, I've been doing some ambassador work with Pro Espresso, who were one of the main importers of rocket into the country. So built up a great relationship there, and we're going into business called Cycle Espresso, and long story short, we always want more coffee machines in the UK, and whether that be home, office, bike shop, cafe. And not only are the company, the business taking the machines in there, they can actually earn commission on selling them back to their customers. So it's a win-win, and also what we want to generate is a map system, so people know where these machines are, so you can ride out to so-and-so cycles and see the machine, have a coffee. You get there and you go, oh yeah, I forgot my shoes, or forgot something, so
arm warmers, leg warmers, hat.
Buy the product while looking at a coffee machine. So, if the shop helps us out by having the coffee machines in there, and then we help them back by getting the customers there, and they can sell them other things as well as the coffee machine. So, it's early days, but we've already had a couple of couple of stores sign up. So, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say
and,
only just launched this week, so we're clearly getting out already, and I'm definitely not going to not anybody who is on a mission to get coffee across the UK to be as good as possible. That's for sure. That'd be very, very bad of me on the basis I can't remember how many kilos of coffee I go through a week. So. Enough coffee talk. We have got you headed up to the top. Most of the gang are together, and about halfway up this climb, because of course we go straight up the side, then we only get cut across on the way down, which I always think is a bit mean. So you have one long climb and then a bit of a cut across. But I shouldn't say anything because it is Muggins who dreamt this one up. So I did at least ride it several times when we were doing the testing, so I'll hold my hand up to that one. But it looks like it's going okay, and just about everybody together. I think Sean Ferran just starting to be distanced now from the gang.
Yeah, I'll hold my hand up and say I don't like this circuit. You know, it's typically is a mountain bike ride. It's sloggy. You know, it's never absolutely solid. It's just always probably as the old bike riders say, one notch above comfortable. You've got to be concentrate. You've got to be on it for the whole ride. And
it's a perfect coaching route, mate. That's what it is. It makes people think about it, which is exactly what we want to do.
Yeah, like we say from the start, it ain't easy. It's a DCG, so you know, think about what you're doing. Think about the bikes. We've had so much chat on here tonight. Oh, I've got the wrong bike. I'm leaving. I'm rejoining. I'm doing this. So, you know.
Excellent, and that's the whole point, isn't it? The Chaingang's there to learn on it. It's there to find a community that has got your back, and you can just see so many people chatting away, enjoying it, and going, of course, on the Facebook page as well as joining the DCG gang. So we're going to let you get back into it, Russ, because you're approaching the top of the hill when it all goes slightly quicker on the way down. You can't be far off the top now, so good luck, mate. We'll hopefully catch up with you by the time we get over the finishing line.
Yeah, thanks for just turning my Wahoo fan up by getting my heart rate over 120 there. So I think I don't know what speed it's on now, but yeah, I can feel it kicking in, and my legs are racing even more.
Yeah, I must admit mine's only got the spinal tap setting, and she's turned it all the way up to 11. So yeah, it's and that's the fan, not the heart rate. Well, good luck, mate. We'll see you soon.
Cheers, mate.
So great to catch up with Russ, who is out on route at the moment, and certainly it looks to me like the gang just holding together quite nicely at the moment. Not too many people being distanced on this, and everyone getting used to it. Now, the first time we actually joined this route, and we came out on to Serpentine 8, it was a bit like somebody pulled the pin on a hand grenade in the middle of the bunch. It was all over the place. Now, people getting the hang of riding. We were here quite early on the introduction of the off-road routes, and we've got to remember that everybody's had time to get used to riding the bikes, a different feel and how it rides. And that's just like real life. That's what's so great about Swift, is that it replicates the feel of riding in real life. It is different when you change from one bike to another, from one discipline to another. You know, you can't expect to just jump onto Swift and absolutely nail it. It just doesn't work. Riders really do have to get used to how it rides, how it feels, when to squeeze on the pedals, how to get the cadence right, and that is exactly what's happening in the gang. Now, it looks like the bus at the back, and I have to say, Greg Pilsworth wins the prize so far of best bus of the month, which is a very, very tough competition so far, but I do love the four-wheel drive American Monster bus. It's perfectly suited to the off-road. If you want to have a go at being a red beacon, well, I'm afraid the rotor is currently full right the way up to the end of the year. We have also filled the red beacons on the women's only Wednesdays on the Donny Chaingang right the way to the end of the year as well, and great to see so many people diving on to the women's only Wednesdays as well. Wow DCG, all links in one place. You can get that ticket tailor /event/ full speed event. So it's even easier, just jump onto Facebook and the link is on there to jump in. We do register all of our riders and there is a cut off on that. That is quite simply because we keep out people who we don't want in. It's a private event and the reason for that is that we have lots of young riders on here, as young as 12 and 13 years old, as well as senior riders. We want to be able to know who's on. We also stop people who are just there to rip it up and cause problems. You get it in all walks of life. Occasionally it happens on the Chaingang, they don't last long. We also get rid of the spam bots as well. Today's count was 4 disposed of by the system, so it is important that you do register, please, gang. Now, the team heading in, the Chaingang now going up on to the Mayan Bridge. And this is the tough section because this is the big drop down, as you can see, coming in and across the top of the gorge before the big kicker up the side of the bank, and it is really tough stuff. A huge group of riders now as we come through, only a few people distanced off the back as we go up onto the banks, but this course not suiting everybody, and it is all about being able to squeeze on. You can see, I think Russ just threw the anchor out of the back of the bike there, as you can see the riders coming piling on into the back. So a busy old night on the Donny Chaingang, all about being able to get the right bike, pedal at the right time and get the pace right as well. Looks like all the big hitters in, people like Kieran Smith in the gang. Just seen him on his way through. Just seen who else is in now. Drabble is in as well. Drabble, another of our really quick riders. He could well be at a bit of a disadvantage if I think he's on a gravel bike, so that's interesting. Now, fastest bike on the whole of the circuit, if you take the whole circuit into account, by far is the mountain bike. It's faster than a Tron by about 50 seconds actually on this circuit as you run on it. However, if you got a gravel bike on it, cyclocross bike basically for those people who remember them, it is quick, and it is quicker on the flat bottom section that takes you into the sprint finish. That makes a huge difference as you make your way through. Now, what happens is if you've got a mountain bike, you're going to be laughing as you go around the whole circuit. However, big problems if you go into that sprint and you're up against somebody on a gravel bike. So you've got to be confident that the gravel bike is going to be keep you in the bunch until that sprint. And that's interesting that we've got Drabble, somebody who could well be in at that finish, choosing to go with a gravel bike that probably is just that little bit quicker on that last little bit of a sprint. Now Chris Hilbert back in with us. Chris on a mountain bike in his natural environment. Good to see he's on here. Just taking a little bit of a run down. So Rodney, I think, choosing a mountain bike as well. Mr. Fuller's doing the same. Cooney's on the same. Sonia just ticking on down. So like pretty much most people done made that change over. So let's have a little look. So the group just ticking along. Very difficult to get the pacing right on this if you're not careful. It's very easy to take the group away by pushing to the front, because you can't actually see the front until you get there. Now, take a little bit of a look back, you can see those gaps have opened up. There's a big split from the front group to the yellow beacon group at the moment on this descent. 3 distinct bunches now on this descent. The front bunch weaving its way about 2 full turns in front of the yellow beacon bunch, then behind that group just breaking up as people just start to make their way across. Just seeing Shopping and if in doubt style it out, Fletcher on the way down. So Tiff, who's been power sliding the way down, quickly getting back into the wheels of Russ. Let's have a little bit of a look. Looks like Tim Leary just making his way through. Woodward just on the back of that group as well. Just watching Taylor Wingy's in here now. Tim Howcroft, I think, has been just distanced, not surprised on that bike. Always pace to get the right one. Caroline, after all that talking, and now starting to feel the pace as she drops down here. She's going to drop back a little bit to Dr. D. Dr. D has got the Pillsworth bus group on its way up with him. So that gang of 4 now turning into a gang of 5 with the addition of Sean Ferrin. I think this could be one of our biggest. Can we make this the biggest bus ever? It would take some doing because we have had a huge bus come through before. The gruppetto at the back. The gang riding along well, quite quiet on that bus at the moment. So I think Caroline likely to be heading back. Wingy's distance from the group, Taylor's distance from the group, Cocking and Woodward. You can just see the pressure on the front just stretching out. But you've got to remember that if it doesn't come together, then the man with the finger on the trigger, it is Russ, who is now already making his way down in towards that Mayan centre, having taken that left-hand turn. So just taking a look across here. So Russ tucked in this group, and you can just see as we zoom out the split in the bunch. Up in front, just opening up on the yellow beacon at the moment. You see the amount of power that Russ is having to put down to stay with the group, because the group dynamics still work well. Less sticky draft is the general comment. Sticky draft is when you're coming up on to a rider and you actually get trying to go past. So if you're in a group of say 4 riders on a team trying to go past another 4, as you come up to them, that sticky draft basically stops you from passing them. It's basically latches onto the people you're coming past, picks them up and pulls them along, and equally means that you can't drop them. So that sticky draft, it isn't as much of a problem on the new version of the drafting. However, all that is also very mixed up on this because we're on the mountain bike, because things on here are a little bit different. So just seeing the riders steadily coming off back. Remember, if you're not in that main group, key is find a rider somewhere near you, work together as a duo. There is big advantages on this course of staying in a pair. It will help you if you've got somebody who's on a similar bike, it has to be said, because then the dynamics will roll the same, and the gang are pretty much regrouping on this ascent. So Russ now up on to the back of that main pack as the group makes its way up this slope. So just see that group just a little struggling. Looks like one person just struggling to modulate the power up on the very front of the group. They'll not last long on their own anywhere near the front of the ride, that is for sure. As we take a little bit of a run back down these riders, just going to drop back to our beacon group. So 2, 4, now 6 riders strong here. I think just seeing Mr. Pillsworth here, Sean Ferrin, Dr. D in with the gang. Looks like Dickinson, Isaac and Jim Flynn as well. And the go has gone. Russ choosing, when we're right at the back, to go at the very front. And he's gone on a downhill section as well. That is pretty mean stuff, it has to be said. So big kick as they make their way down and through. Looks like the man who we were speaking to earlier, Nick Craig, has actually made it into the ride here. So Craig making the gang, not quite sure where he's out on course. Neil from the Crosscast pushing on here as Isaac Oliver has really tried to push hard off the front. We're just going to jump in with Russ here just to try and get a figure of where the groups are. So looks like Russ has got issues. We know you've got issues, Russ. We're there from the start on the Chaingang. You get to press the button. He's pressed the button and it has gone. It looks like Akbar just in that group. We're just taking a little bit of a run further up through the gang here, looking for the very front of the group. Easier said than done. We've got Darryl Tatchell Waller in here. Looks like Finn Donahue pushing. Watson's pushing Dixon Moore in this group now. Just running up towards the front of the group here. We're in with Wilson, but the very front of this group is tricky to find. It's changing so quickly here. In with Dalglish at the moment. Looks like little pushing up towards the front. No clear distinction at the very front of the group. So we're going to hit the line at the moment. We're going to have one more up with the down as we come back in again. So basically we've got one more up and one more down to do to come in and through to finish. So just watching the riders coming in. Remember, this is nearly a 20k loop in total, but one up and one down. Well, that is effectively another 10k that will take us onto the other end of the circuit. So you just see coming in and through, you can just see Gale at the moment on the front, 21.9k on his clock, but he is slightly short. He's one of our late joiners. Let's pick somebody who's been in since the start as we go underneath the waterfall, in with Tim Corby here. Now Tim's good indicators, 26.7 as we just make our way out through the spray coming off the waterfall there, and Tim Corby in from the Bolsover gang. So has nearly 37k in as he comes in and through. Still plenty of riders just going in towards the line, but this is a massive group up on the front of the bunch now. There's a lot of people who wouldn't necessarily normally expect to be in there. Just seeing Morgan Lloyd just putting back, Jamie Brown a bit further back, Beefy Briggs in these groups behind, and if you take a look, if we zoom this map out a little bit, you can just see people dotted all over the place at the moment. So topless in these tunnels, Derby just about to enter, Cocking just coming up here to the archway here, in the spray that is falling down. When they come back in the opposite direction, that's when you're going to see these riders coming through. You can just see the water absolutely pouring down on the riders. So the groups are well spread out at the moment. Russ not up with the leaders, and that makes life very interesting indeed, because the people who are up at the front now know that they have got it all to themselves. We are going to work our way up, doing a nice little sneaky jump across there to get ourselves up towards the very front of the groups here. So this is what is left of that front group. You can see Maddie Smith in here now. Maddie, one of our regulars who makes her way back, especially for the off-road routes. Absolutely loves them. Now, Geoff Watson and Scott Sports, massive thank you to them. Tickets to members of the DCG gang, courtesy of Scott Sports, and Geoff currently in here. Geoff, of course, one of the riders known for his off-road riding. Mr. Little, tough luck, mate. You're in deep trouble now, because if you stop there, you are going to get distanced by our leading group. Now, Neil Birmingham in here. Is Neil's day going to be the day when we go off-road here in the black? Nice. Scott MTB, that is going to be the new RC there. I think by the look of it, it's going to take a little bit of a check down there. Shot's not in the right place for an RC. Just see as he goes in and through, not the new version anyway. So just watching him. Looks like Kieran Smith's still keeping up with everybody, even though he's on a Tron bike, so he's expending a lot of energy at the moment to stay with the team, even though he's on a So the gang are riding well here, looking good at the moment, and everybody are working around our riders. Kieran Smith at the moment at 6 watts per kilo, leading this group out behind him. Everybody just about in. So as they make their way up here, Smith, Drabble, Booth, Birmingham, Oliver in there. Everybody moving well at the moment. You can just see they all want to be on the heels of Kieran Smith at the moment. That is the place to be. Well, our helicopter just up above, we're going to drop straight out of it. Very difficult to see what's going on from up above this forest. Don't forget that this, of course, is Climate Week, the Gritty Climate Week, coming to you on the Donny Chaingang. It's live, of course, on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel. If you just joined us, welcome to the gang. We had a nice steady build-up, as always, on the Chaingang, getting everybody in and together. And onto the right bikes today, because we are off-road on the Serpentine 8 in the Mayan circuit. Now, The team are working well to try and keep that gap down to a minimum between our leaders up at the front, but it is currently Kieran Smith on a Tron bike. It's Drabble who's currently sitting on a gravel bike. They are clear of the riders, and it looks like Greg Pillsworth, the rider at the back of this gang at the moment. Well, it's not all that far behind. He's going to see the chasing group behind, just keeping a look. The gang pretty much all together. So Ruby, Jim, Mark, Sean, Ryan and Greg Pillsworth in the gang. So let's have a little look. Kieran Smith at the front, Drabble in second place. It looks sort of like Thorpe in third place. Now, the riders in third and fourth place here, Thorpe and Booth. They are riders who figure strongly ride in, ride out. At the moment, they aren't scoring regular wins on the Chaingang. Once that go is given, and they need to just close down Kieran Smith and Pete Treble, and they're the two just at the front. Then it's going to be Thorpe, then Booth. And the four riders together again, once again, at the top of the course. Remember, when they get to where the Y section is, where the split in the road is, in front, that means it is downhill on the way back. That essentially feels like the halfway point. It's not actually quite a halfway point. But at the moment, the mountain bikes of Thorpe and Drabble just chasing the Tron bike of Kieran Smith, who again is just kicking on behind. Then it is Little, followed by Oliver and Birmingham. So it is Smith, Thorpe, Booth and Drabble 1 to 4. Little in 5. It's going to be Oliver in 6, I think, at the moment, with Birmingham on his wheels. Crosscast Neil just inside the top 10. Varsity also in there. Wilson hovering around that top 10 mark, as is Oliver and Potts. Top 15, well, it is still Darryl Tatchell-Waller along with Jeff Cecil, and our winner from tonight is, of course, Simon Runnett, aka Sean, aka Simon, who is going to be in line for one of those red stripes jerseys. A fantastic jersey, and of course having all the features of the Gritty kit, and good to see he's right up in the mix. Up near the front now, our leaders are well on the way up and past the top section. Our red beacon at the other end of the course, just coming up to that gantry, so they know that when they go through it next time. The time after this, basically, they are going to be on the way down in towards the finish, heading down. This is the leading group at the moment. It is 4 riders: Kieran Smith, Simon Booth. They're about to be 5 though, because I think Little is just about to make contact here. Let's jump in with Little. He's not all that far behind. Let's try and get a little view. Here he is. So you can just see Drabble, Little and gang now heading down on to that bridge, heading across. These are our leaders. So Little leading them out. Thorpe in the second wheel position, then Booth, then Kieran Smith on that Tron bike, then Drabble at the back of this group as they go over and across the bridge. The kick will come as they come up the hill, as they come up this bridge side at the moment, and Kieran Smith and Little are trying to drive on over the top here. So it looks like Kieran Smith quickly off the gas there, Booth doing the same. Just going to drop back in again, Little back into that group. Then it's 35 seconds back to Oliver and Birmingham, only 4 seconds behind. You can just see Neil from Grity from the crosscast chasing. Then it's going to be Potts, Darryl Tatchell-Waller, Varty, Wilson in there. Then Cecil and Runnett are together at the moment. They've got Simon out, not all that far behind, I don't think. No, there he comes. So those groups are spread out, but our leaders are well on the way around the circuit. You can just see riders after riders. This is our next gang approaching that bridge. These are one of our swacks full of our regulars. We've got Mantis in here, we've got Rob Wimble, Muddy Smith, Mr. Dalglish in here, and we have the one and only Nick Craig, one of our late joiners to the gang, still surviving. If you're wondering, is this the legendary Nick Craig, I can confirm for you, this is his very first ride on Zwift. It is the one and only living legend. It is Nick Craig from Scott. Has bitten the bullet. He's taken the plunge, and he's joined us on an off-road ride on the Baptism of Fire on the very basic Zwift bike, and he is already looking very, very good en route on his way through. Now we're going to jump right from Nick up to this leading group of 5 here. So diving down, Booth just jumping up on to the front of this group in that white shoulders, the grey shorts, those orange bands and the orange cap. Little goes over the top in the yellow and black strip. Then it's going to be Thorpe on the outside, Kieran Smith with the flat cap on the Tron bike, Drabble in the blue. 5 riders. Who's going to take this away? They're now going to drop it across. It's not going to be long before they head across the Mayan Bridge. It's the halfway down. They're actually going to probably see the red beacon coming in the opposite direction up the climb. And the advantages of our multi-lap course is that everybody is going to be able to see now. Chris Ball, one of our winners of the Scott Sports tickets to Ruler, was down at Ruler chatting with Nick, and good to see the battle's already started, headed in Nick's direction as our leaders head down here towards the ruins of the Mayan city. So into this descent down onto the gravel they go once again. 5 leaders in here, looking really smooth as they come down these twists and turns. Remember, they're going to be heading down and across the bridge and then onto the climb behind them. It is 50 some seconds back to group number 2, minute and 10 to group number 3 at the moment on the course, because these 5 are absolutely motoring at the moment. They've got to remember they need to save some strength. It's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. Remember, Zwift adjusts the power and the resistance of the turbo trains depending on what you're kicking out, what bike you're riding. It is really is true to feel as pretty much as accurate as you get, and it's great fun to play, which means of course it allows us to bring a great rise like this. And Donny Chaingang coming out, and great rise by these 5 riders. These are our leaders at the moment, going in underneath now. This is one of the last sustained kick up on the way through, so we see this is where we're going to should see Kieran Smith start to try and stretch this out, but he's got Thorpe with him now. Kieran Smith using that power up, so he's got the feather flag employed. That's 10% off his already diminutive weight. Kieran Smith is not able to make this stick. If it's shed anybody, it's Little at the moment, who's just off the back of the group, but Little now he's going to have to put in a kick as they come up to take the turn. Just going to have a little bit of a look. Have they detached him? He's coming back to them. It's still going to be 5, so Kieran Smith's use of the flag didn't work, but now as he comes over the top, he's kicking once again. He's trying to shed himself of the riders behind, but he's having to expend a lot of energy because he's on that Tron bike now. It is Smith, Little, Booth, Drabble, Thorpe. They are the top 5 riders. Birmingham, Oliver, looks like Neil from Grity, then Simon, Elliott, Potts, West, Varty, the riders behind. But at the moment, Kieran Smith has got a slight gap now. If they all look at each other, he will finish this off. As Kieran Smith starts to make his way down, our chasers are just behind. As they come down, you can just see the red beacon coming the other way. He's going to get a prime view of our riders coming down in towards the finish. So our red beacon group, the bus going up the climb. As you see, our riders heading down here, looking very, very quick already as they come down this descent. And that looks to me, Drabble just sitting in at the back of this group, just waiting to pass. Remember, he's on a gravel bike. So the man with the least resistance, if we hit the tarmac, will be Kieran Smith on the Tron bike. Then it's the gravel bikes, then it's the man bikes. However, it is all about making sure you've picked the right bike for what you needed it to do. Drabble going for that gravel bike. Done his homework. It is faster on the sprint. So if you knew you're going to be in with the chance of the sprint, then you want to have that bike in for the sprint. But the gravel does take effect. The mountain bike is still fastest by far downhill on the run in, but absolutely absorbing. Nothing here. Very, very cagey indeed. Nobody is using too much energy here. Say not too much. That's all relative at the moment. I think these 5 probably, with the amount of power they're laying down, can power a small city. However, you can see the riders just dipping down here and coming into the cave complex. So we're into the cave complex. You can just see from the map that there is a limited amount of time left before we come in to that finish. We are going to drop across because that's not what you want it to do. You don't want it to move across at the wrong moment. We're just in with the gang. And now look at the kick coming here from Drabble. Drabble just put down 17 watts per kilo. Just see 17 come up. He's dropped to 14. He's now down at 11. Booth is coming behind him. Booth is kicking hard. He's still a long way to the line. Has Drabble gone too early here? He's on the gravel bike, but Booth is coming behind him, and you can see the difference in the rolling resistance. This is going to be between the two riders. That Gantry is coming. He's just round the corner. There's Yash. Now Drabble kicks again. Drabble's coming hard on the side. Booth's responding. Who is going to take this? It's going to come down to the last few metres. Drabble just taking that from Booth. So close to a win for Booth. Then it's going to be Little and Thorpe. Kieran Smith cruises in on the Tron bike there. What a ride there by Booth and Drabble. They kicked to the right time, and where do they find that power? That was insane on the way down, and through huge amount of power. Now this is the fight behind. This is 6th, 7th and 8th places. Three very good riders here. We've got Isaac Oliver in the blue-red GB kit. You've got Neil from the Crosscast with the yellow forks, and then you've got Neil Birmingham beside him. Now, uber competitive is Neil from Grity. It has to be said. I'm not sure who my money's on here between this little lot. We'll go with Mr. Burning just to see if he's going to be able to take this out. Come on, Neil, time to kick in. Birmingham's got the advantage here. He's got the aero power up. He comes through. He takes 6th. It's Neil coming through for 7th. It's going to be 8th place for Isaac Oliver. Simon Knight comes through for 9th. 10th is Wilson. 11th, I think, is Elliot. Then Varty and Gang. Emsley's through. Jeff Saysal coming through. Nick Craig and Gang. Well, they're going to be the next group to come in towards the finish. Who's going to take this out? Will Nick even know where the finish is? Does he know how to sprint? Notorious for being a diesel. This is where he's got to find his kicking legs to come in to the finish. So the sprint is started. Corby's putting some power, man. Looks like Morgan Lloyd is winding it up. Richardson, though, on the side of him, was trying to go hard. But remember, the advantage is with the mountain bike. But Richardson now alongside him. So it is between Richardson, who's on a road bike here. Has he got the right bike? Oh, he's not here because Lloyd's able to outpace him because of that mountain bike, because of the better kick and the sprint. You need everything to come together, and that's sort of what's happening here. Great riding. Nick Craig comes through that sprint to finish. That's it, Nick. Easy, mate. You've done the hard work. It's time to ease off now. Behind, we're going to drop back to our next group, and I think Maddie Smith's going to be our next rider coming into the line here. We love mixing it up on the Donny Chaingang, and already that's exactly what you're seeing here. A royal mix between these riders. Woodall's going to be next to, but behind, oh, he's going to get rolled. He is going to get rolled here because looks like Donahue and Garth are doing the traditional sprint. In Joff from Scott Sports comes in as he comes through. McDermott, Brown, Clark coming through. Some Moore's in, creases through. Some amazing riding here. So let's have a little look. I think this is going to be Taylor, our next rider, coming in towards the line. So just taking a little bit of a run through. You can just see the spray off the waterfalls in the finish here as he goes underneath the arch. Then it's going to be Thomas Crapper who's going to come through. He's just ahead of the chasing gang behind. There's going to be a sprint in from them, I'm sure, as he goes in through. It's going to be Mason just behind Forrester. Then it's going to be the team. So a real fast kick in to the finish behind him. Then it's going to be Steve Hilbert, followed by Paul Coleman. Then it's going to be Mr. Watson. That is Raccoon, of course, coming in to finish. Nice jersey made, by the way. Got like that. Subtle. Then it's going to be Goddard. Then it's going to be Mr. Cannons behind. So good to see Mr. Cannons coming in to the finish. Then it's going to be Akbar. It's been on a bike. Good to see you, buddy. Good to have you back in with us. About to get a sprint from Akbar. So one of these people we know he's going to give it everything as he comes in and through the line. Good riding, mate. Then it's going to be Wilson, Darby, Briggs, and Fuller. The next riders through Langmead, Malin, Reaney, Sonia Inslee with a characteristic sprint, of course, as we come in towards line. Come on, Sonia. You can't just not sprint for the line for me now that I've bigged you up. So this is the run into the finish. Sonia just keeping the res high, just pushing at the side there of Reaney. You can see the two Bolsover riders coming in together. Cottrell is going to be just behind. So today's ride, of course, on Serpentine 8, a bit of virgin rainforest, a bit of Mayan landscape for our riders. That's all going to change because we have a real tough day on Thursday as well. If you thought today was tough, well, Thursday is Armistice Day. And on the 11th of the 11th, we thought we'd go to something really monumental. It had to be France, of course, to commemorate Armistice Day. And we are going to be heading to La Reine. one of the toughest climbs in the arsenal of Zwift. It's not quite as long as the Alpe du Zwift. We cut the distance from the full Von Top down deliberately, but you will find that it is a big beast of a route going up to Lorient. It is where the Tour finished when Chris Froome had to run his bike in. It is a really fantastic route to ride once. Personally, I absolutely hate it. It's the most interminable, horrid climb is Von 2 and Von Top. Wouldn't touch you with the barge pole personally, but people love it, and weirdly enough, everybody wants to do the best ride. Now, we haven't been for a while. We thought, what was more monumental than doing Lorient? To remember the people who sacrificed today. So it is going to be a big day on that climb on La Rienne as the riders come up and through. We're going to see just who can put in a personal best time. I'm going to be settled down and ready for it. I'm going to have my Christian supplies. In fact, I'm going to be pulling in some special supplies from Nonna's, I think, for that one to keep me fed on the way through, and lots of coffee. So we head to Lorient. Lightest climbing bike you can get, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely, if you are a member of the DCG gang, don't forget, of course, that you are going to have the inside track on what is happening and where and what to ride when you go into the Donny Chaingang. So don't forget, if you do have a few spare English bounds set laying around, then make sure you join up and join the DCG gang, the sports club. In return, we of course will be making sure you're in those giveaways, making sure that you're getting those fantastic discounts from our supporters. So all the people you see on the bottom of your screen: Halo, OTE, Velaskin, 1080 for all those Oatleys. Of course, Grand Tour Coffee and Grity with big discounts, and Grity, of course, 20% discount on Grity at the moment as we run into the finish now. Just have a look. Come on, Dave, all the way to the line, buddy. So Mr. Owens just keeping those legs. Oh, we're going to get a sprint out of him. We are. Do you know what? I love it when people are clearly watching the live feed. Good stuff, mate. Come on, big kick. So the Welsh Wonder on his way to the line. Just got to keep pushing. Come on, mate. Got to keep those revs going. That last little kick in and through the line. Good riding behind. Then it's going to be Taylor just in front of Tiff Fletcher. So at the moment, Taylor, next rider, another of our Bolsover gang. I'm so really struggling to resist the temptation to say Bolsover massive. Makes me sound like a right old gimmer trying to be young. But they are. They're massive in the massive sense. There's huge numbers of them. There's a bulk of them. So here we go to Fletcher. Going to try and catch Taylor napping. Going to do it as well here. So just see Tiff kicking it in through to the finish. Great ride by Tiff. Comes in ahead of Taylor. Then it's going to be a Wingy, I think, our next rider. So Wingy on the way to the line. Seems like a lot's happened since we started. We're already an hour and 15 in. This really is a packed ride, and that's because it is one of the classic Zwift routes these days. I must admit, it is one that I do like to go out and just test on, just see how we're going and see how people are riding. Now, Caroline Mansfield currently just ahead of the gang behind Forrester Pills with Flynn and Tickers. So Caroline in action. We are going to do a little bit of catching up because I think Caroline is the next rider out on course after Wingy. Then we're going to should have Forrester and Pillsworth and Co. So just making the way around. There's a lot of people just still also warming down as well. So it's going to get a little bit mixed up, but we'll try and keep track of where everybody is. Easier said than done on this circuit. So this is our Red Beacon group. That's a certainty as they come around. You can tell that because they are all working well together. So Sean Ferron on the front of the group. Greg Pillsworth in the red there. Just coming up on the side, you see Flynn. We've got Ruby Isaac in here as well. We've got Rowan Dubash, Rowan, Dr. D himself in with us. If I'm talking using words like massive, I should be using like in the house too. So the gang on the way down here. This is our Gruppetto making the way in and through. You see lots of people still warming down, and the comments just keep on coming in. You'll thank me one day when you like beating everybody when you're out on Swift and putting in evil routes like this. So heading down, going to be taking that right hand turn soon. See Greg, our red beacon, on his way down. We are going to try and catch up with Russ at some point. It's easier said than done. Let's see whether we can get hold of him. It looks like he's a DNF. I think there's not been many DNFs on the way through, but Russ a DNF. He has one plugged Wahoo bike on the way through, as still settling into that pain cave, not without his trials and tribulations by the look of it. So Caroline clear of the riders. Let's see. Should we be really mean and pick on Caroline? She's not all that far from the finish. Let's see if we can get hold of Caroline. Won't be. She's just on her way down. She's basically on that run into the finish. See if there's anything left in the legs or the lungs. So Caroline, how are you doing? Are you alive?
Hi Matt, now how are you?
She said, "That sounds like you're just going to be glad of getting into that archway today on what has been a really brutal, really brutal chain gang. But it's been brilliant. I've absolutely loved people riding together, and the comments afterwards are great."
Well, do you know, it's always good to do something different for a change. And unfortunately, I needed to drop off and just ride it at my own pace today. But I've had a lovely time watching your feed and seeing what's going on with everyone else.
Right, it's quite good from that point of view that it does break up, and we do try and get to see everybody. I mean, a cracking sprint finish as the riders came in to that end, and you could just see the difference in the bike. It's about choosing the right bike for the right bit of kit, and kit is important. People say, "Oh, you're just riding anything. Doesn't matter what you wear, what bike you've got." It's not true, is it?
No, definitely not. Not on here. Definitely not. And then it's always good to have a few extra points so that then you can buy a nicer bike. And I must admit, today I've unlocked a level, so I've had. Oh look, I can see the end.
You can. It just comes round the corner, doesn't it? We keep. That's it. Last few meters, Caroline. Come on, big push. Just see that final. Just see Caroline's watch just suddenly go up there. She came in. So, well done, Caroline. Congratulations. Warm down time. If you can warm down on this course, you can. It's quite a nice course to take easy. Thank you very much for joining us on the show. We'll be back with you on Thursday, I'm sure. And of course, another jersey to give away. Congratulations to Simon, who has won one of our jerseys already from Grity. And don't forget, of course, make sure you go on to the website, which, if I remember right, you can correct me on this, is gritty.co.uk.
That's correct, yes.
Excellent. Dive on there, get a good look at the credentials and exactly what makes them so special. Caroline, we'll let you warm down. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll catch you Thursday.
Cheers. Look forward to it. Bye.
Bye. So great to catch up with Caroline out on course, which means we should have one group left on the road. This is the Red Beacon group here. Sean Ferron. It is going to be Greg Pillsworth, Ruby Isaacs, Ryan Dubash, Mark Tickle, Jim Flynn, all coming in as a pack here. And you can just see, man at the back is going to push on here. It's probably going to be Jim and Tickers just at the back of this gang. Just got to watch them coming in. I'm sure that group will regroup as they come down through the town here in the ruins of the Mayan city. And Jim, our rider at the moment, just going to squeeze onto the back of this group and then be led home. A great ride by these riders, and this is what the Chaingang is all about. It's about riders getting together, riding together as a group, coming down into the finish together and making sure everybody gets home. We follow everybody into the finish. Doesn't matter whether you're first rider on the road, middle of the road, last rider on the road, it makes no odds. We will be in with the riders on the way through. And just in with Ruby. Ruby on the Chaingang. And Ruby doing a great job here. Good to see Ruby, a talented rider, not just on the rollers, but a great all-round rider. And good to see Ruby in action on the Donny Chaingang again, in danger of becoming a regular, like Sean, like Greg, and the gang that sounds like there's a danger of being a sprint into the finish, guys. That could be very entertaining indeed. I'm not sure who my money's on here. Sean has a ferocious kick. He's not the smallest rider. Let's see if we can have a quick look at Sean's forearms here. If you look at the size of the bicep, that's generally indicative of the sprint power. However, I don't want to do what one of the BC staff once said to Mark Cavendish: "You're the wrong build, you'll never be a sprinter." That didn't work out well. It didn't age well, that comment, did it? Well, let's have a little bit of a look now. This is where the gravel bike could be an advantage for Dr. D, who is sat on a gravel bike. It could well be that Ruby, who's on a road bike, gets an even bigger advantage on sprint as they come in. It is starting to be wound up. Lock your folks, here comes the cry. I'm not surprised. This is the push for the line. This is where it's going to count. Is Greg going to lead them out here? I think he is. He's going to lead them out. That is real sterling stuff from the beacon. So it is going to be Pillsworth who's going to lead them out. Can he do the business and actually take the win from them? We're just seeing a big kick behind. Look out, Rowan go. So Dr. D has decided he's not having any of this red beacon, taking the glory lark here. He's got the aero power in. He's trying to go past him. Pillsworth's responding here. Looks like everybody's up the power game. Everyone's over 4 watts, 5 watts per kilo. They're trying to kick into the finish. Dr. D, he started too early, though. He could get caught here because Pillsworth's coming. Pillsworth is coming on him, and he could get him. The guarantee comes sooner than you think. Greg's going to get the timing right. It's just around the corner here, so our red beacon goes through. He's going to take that position. Then it's going to be Dr. D with that early kick not paying off. I think somebody's legs fell off there. Fortunately, he's able to fix them being a doc. Next is going to be Ticker's great ride by Tickers. He's just going to edge out Jim Flynn. Flynn just coming through in ahead of Sean Ferron and Ruby Isaac coming into the finish. Great riding, guys. Absolutely amazing to see. And now the gang can do some warming down in through to the blue banner. Remember, of course, all the races have that warm down built into them to give you a little bit of a chance to spin your legs out. So, great ride tonight on Gritty Climate Week. Remember, guys, have a think. What can you do to make a difference here? This studio actually runs off battery power. True fact. Battery power powers this studio, powers everything in it. Guess what happens? Those batteries are recharged by renewables. Keeps it really, really simple. If we get power outage, we can keep on going. But we also then use that same battery power to make sure that we charge all the things when we go off site. All our power is done by renewables. We reuse absolutely everything. There are water bottles. We don't even muck about with our cups. Everything gets reused on the way through. Doesn't matter what it is. We've got water bottles. We've got some of our DCG water bottles. Well, these are actually storing stickers in here. It's just about reusing stuff. It can be really, really simple. Things like all the cleaning. When we clean the studio down, we have massive refills. Just clean it down. Same with the bike. So have a think, see what can you do that could make a difference. Everybody's going to have to help to make this work. So please have a think, have a focus this week. Remember, we're back on Thursday. I'm sure had the people who sacrificed themselves in conflict, who are now and no longer with us, who we will be remembering on Thursday, were to be here, they would be wondering why we are in danger of wrecking the planet. So please, guys, make sure you have a think. Make sure you're back with us on Thursday. Monumental ride for a monumental day. We're going up Lorraine. We are going up what is the Von to climb. It is a landmark climb in the Chaingang. We're using it for a landmark event, the COP26 Summit. We're bringing you all of the action on the Downhill Cycling YouTube channel with me, Matt Payne. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure, of course, that you join the Facebook page and jump on a ride. It's great to see everybody on. If you do need help, don't hesitate to get in touch. We're trying to make sure everybody can get on and enjoy the Chaingang. So from me and Matt Payne, have a great couple of days. I'll be back on Thursday for the next Donny Chaingang.